Welcome back, Weezy and Weebies, to this channel you can do. But today, I am going to be playing Eternal again. I haven't recorded much of me playing this, but I have been playing it a whole lot. And this deck is really one that made me think, you know what, I want to start recording this now, because it's not exactly unique, but I haven't seen too many people doing this deck, and I really love this deck. It feels like the kind of deck you can just play, like, whenever you want, and it'll always be a solid choice. It is a control deck. As you can see, it's a weird combination of factions. It's Justice, Primal, Shadow. Now, there are no Justice, Primal, Shadow cards, so you don't really get a reward, technically, except just flexibility for picking these three factions, which is a little bit of a downer, but there's a reason that this is a Justice, Primal, Shadow deck. So, essentially, this got nerfed, I think 2 patches ago, but there was a strategy, I never got to play it before the nerf, that was really strong. There was a Justice Primal deck with Korovyat Palace, which is this card. It's a 4 health, 6 cost site that when you play a unit with 4 or more, it gets Aegis, and every turn it casts either Wisdom of the Elders, Withstand, or Sack the City for free, and then once you cast all 4, you get a free Svetya, but not the legendary one, the event one, the one that's a 4/4/4 that stops your opponent from playing spells from a turn, and also has the option of drawing cards in the top of your deck if you pay 8. This card, in combination with Svetya's Sanctum, which is a 5 cost relic before, but it got nerfed to 6, which spawns minions with attack and health equal to the cost of spells when you play spells. It was a strong combo, and it was basically one of the best decks in the game, I think, at the time. And then it got nerfed, and as soon as it got nerfed, of course, I got the cards for it. But I don't think the nerf hit it too hard. I definitely think it's a very much still a good deck, just not overpowered anymore, which is good. This is actually like a very nice nerf, because the thing is, all they did was make this cost 1 more, and that wouldn't have mattered at all. But the thing is that both of these being at 6 is kind of awkward. Not so awkward that it ruins the deck, but just awkward enough that it makes the deck not really annoying because it curves out perfectly, because it doesn't anymore. Anyway, so this would just be a Justice Primal deck, but this has to be a Shadow deck, essentially, because Shadow is amazing at control. They have Desecrate, they have Extract, they have Shakedown. Now, Shakedown isn't seen as quite as crazy a card, but I think people kind of sleep on Shakedown. I don't really know the meta of this game, but I don't see people running this card. And at first, when I saw this card, I thought it looked a bit weak. But I don't remember what it was, but I remember I used a deck where this actually had synergy somehow. I don't think it was a mill deck, but it was something along those lines. So I decided to run a couple of them, and they actually did really well. The thing is that, first of all, this can kill combo decks if they have any combo pieces that cost 3 or less, or if they have any cards that tutor out combo pieces that, you know, cost 3 or less. It can discard merchants, which is effective in basically any strategy, because hardly any decks don't run any merchants except like super aggro decks. They can, and even if you're against like an aggressive or tempo deck, you think, oh, well, this won't be useful then. Well, no, you're wrong, because usually the 2-drop or the 3-drop they drop down, like after their turn 1 play, is the thing that screws you over. But if you can discard it before they can even play it, not only did you get card advantage, but you also, you know, made it so they don't have quite as an aggressive a curve. Like, you know, Rakano Outlaw, even though it's a pretty simple card, is a very scary thing to deal with on turn 2 sometimes, and Shakedown can discard the Rakano Outlaw before they can even play it. I think this is actually a really good card that's kind of being slept on. Using Sea Cancers and Seek Power, we get a very consistent deck. Sea Cancers may seem a bit weak. I know a lot of people run it, but some people are very confused as to why it's popular. I was at first, but the thing is that you're paying 1 more than you would for Seek Power, and you sometimes run Seek Power. And the thing is that it doesn't matter that much, because usually that 1 extra cost doesn't matter so much, because the least sigils they can give you if you redraw your hand at least once is 2. So 2 cost is actually very important, because that means you'll consistently be able to play this, because it has no influence requirements, and it costs 2. So every game you will be able to play this, if you get it in your hand. Last Scroll's just a ramp, and it's just a very efficient ramp. Strategize, hand management, card draw, and Extract is control. Justice is important here for Harsh Rule, because Harsh Rule's just overpowered. End of. Desecrate overpowered, so we have Shadow, and we have a couple of Hailstorms just in case a super aggro deck that comes along that will kill us before we can get to our Harsh Rule. Our market just contains a banner, a Hooru banner, a Vision of Austerity, just in case we run into a Black Iron Manacles deck, or a Xenon Obelisk deck, or Crown of Possibilities, or, you know, Crystalline Chalice. Of course, we've got the Palace and the Sanctum, as well as Martyr's Chains, which I might replace this for a different win condition, but this is the strongest win condition I have that fits into the Justice Primal thing. So yeah. And we don't actually have the Rhine Conclave Smuggler Merchant. One, because I didn't want to have a black market, and two, because I only own 2 of them, and, you know, I'd like to have 4. Instead, I have 3 Winchest Merchants and 2 Genev Merchants. The Genev Merchants are weaker than the Winchest ones, because they can only pull these 3 cards, but the Martyr's Chains is usually not that important. Svetya's Sanctum sometimes can hurt, not being able to pull that. Anyway, I've talked on for a bit, so I think it's about time I actually just get into a game. Now, this deck is surprisingly consistent. When I first tried this deck out, it was a different list, and I didn't have as many cards, and I didn't make it as well, and it was too greedy, and when I tried it, it flopped. So I kind of got the impression it was a bad deck, and then I came back to it now, and it's doing really well. Now, I'm not actually sure if this deck was popular, because I've seen this deck before. This isn't completely original. But, like, you know, the fact that I'm adding Shadow to this already existing deck. I already saw people doing this, but I didn't see too many people doing this, and I think this is actually, like, a really good idea. Whoever originally thought of it, props to them. Okay, we don't need 2 Hailstorms. This guy, first of all, doesn't even look like he's playing aggro. Even if he is playing aggro, 1 board clear should do it. Haha, no units for you to silence. And this is Sea Cancers coming in clutch. We've got a terrible hand. We'd be completely just stuck if we didn't have Sea Cancers. But now it's going to pull a power card. Oh, you look at that, Justice. So now we can scout and draw just another Justice Sigil for our deck. Oh, would you look at that, Shadow. Yeah, I'll take that. Long Live the Queen is a bit of a weird one. I only own 1 of this card, so I only run 1 of it. I'm not sure whether it's correct or not. I have seen some people saying that you shouldn't run any spell negation that costs more than 3, but I think that's because of Eclipse Dragon, and I think that's what it's called, and I can't even run Eclipse Dragon in this deck, so, yes, there we go. The Warp isn't that helpful, but, you know, negating a spell and drawing a card's nice, especially when you need card draw in a deck like this. Oh yes, I'll get rid of that legendary. You see, there's an example of Shakedown being good. This is probably a control deck too, and it even still got value, which is nice. Now the question is, do we do this for power or do we do this for non-power? Because we're 1 power off being able to play Palace or Sanctum, but we don't have either of those things yet. I think we actually just pass our turn, because we don't know yet. We've got a good chance of just top decking a power card here, and if we do, then that's the decision made. We just go for non-power. This is a bit of a weird idea. I don't usually make a play like this, but we're in a weird situation where none of us are doing anything, so I can't use my reactive cards. Okay, there we go. I'll just get Shadow, because although I'm not running too many Shadow Waystones, I am running some, and I do really like getting Knight off of the Waystone. Okay, so I think since it's a control deck, I'm 9% sure at this point. Hailstorm's going to be useless, so let's get rid of that. Right? Yeah, the rest of this is really good stuff. I think Sanctum's a little bit better to have than Palace if we don't have either in this situation. Usually I'd say Palace is a little bit better because you don't really need any synergy with Palace to make it good. It's good on its own. But here, Sanctum, we just got so many spells in our hand that we've got to take it. It does kind of hurt to let him leave that Vara up, but we'll knock it down next turn and we'll get another golem from it. Well, that's a bit annoying, but it's still fine. Uh-oh. Oh, he's a combo deck. I thought he was playing control this whole time. He's playing the combo with the where you have Catra and that guy that costs 1 to use, and he twists and he deals 1 damage, gives you 1 health, and then with this you get an infinite damage combo. So yeah, in other words, this cannot be allowed to live. Lisa's going to summon some nice golems for us. Let's draw a card off of this too. So, really wanted to use the extract here. That is pretty annoying, but there's a chance he still plays something weak enough. Oh, I kind of wish to save the feeding time now, because if I give this +2/+2, he just resurrects it and it keeps the buff. But I think I still have to take that risk. I think he wants to use the resurrection on the twist anyway, because... Oh yeah, he's going to do that. He wants to use the resurrection on the twist anyway, because, you know, he needs that for his combo, which is, I'm pretty sure, is his win condition. I feel like this extract is not going to get used, so if we go a couple more turns and we need cards and we don't have any good targets for this, I might just use this on face. Oh, that's nice. I just realised I shouldn't have played that power card. The most expensive card in my deck is Martyr's Chains, which is 9. And I need to save my power cards. For one, if I get a merchant, I can swap the power card for a better card. And, oh, okay, so I didn't expect Shadowlands Feaster, but that's fine, because I can just kill it with Extract now, so Extract actually got value. Ah, you see, I could have... Okay, yeah, that was a misplay from me. It just kind of was on autopilot. You know, see a power card play it, but that wasn't actually right in that situation. So it looks like we do have this guy cornered, though, because next turn we're going to draw a card, and we're almost certainly going to still want to swap it with the merchant. And then we can either go for Martyr's Chains or Svetya's Sanctum. Yeah, we don't want Harsh Rule right now. Sorry, not Sanctum, Korovyat Palace. Oh, it's actually hard to say. As tantalising as it is to go for Korovyat Palace, I think Martyr's Chains is the correct choice. Just because Korovyat Palace could be destroyed and then we're out of value and then he might outvalue us or combo us to death. Whereas Martyr's Chains has a constant effect that won't go away. It would be the wrong choice if we were scared... Oh. Well, that's good. It would be the wrong choice if we were scared about relic removal, but if he had relic removal, he would definitely have used it on the Sanctum already. So he'd have to top deck it, and I don't think he will. I think we give this +2/+2. I don't know, we just like having units on the board so much at this point. And would you look at that, we top deck a power card. Let's just go berserk for the sake of it. Wow, I love this deck. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Goodbye.